Welcome to Lagniappe, a program about events, issues, and people. I'm Cory Crowe, and I'm joined today by Doyle Jeter, and Molly is with us as well. Molly Jeter for the purposes of this interview for a moment, and thank you both for being with us.
Hello. Always good to be here.
Good to have you both here. And, of course, you got Molly married off, but she's part of the gang at Enoch. Everybody knows her from there. And we're talking today about the Northeast Louisiana Music Trail, something that Doyle, you and Molly and the gang worked on for a long, long time.
We did, and Molly knows this. She was around from the beginning. We had talked about doing this for many years, and it all came together basically after I retired. I had time to really go for it. But Molly had been making notes about doing this for how many years? 20-some years. And Dexter Jackson and I talked about it probably 40 years ago. But yeah, it's taken off in the last 2 years and a few months, couple of months. We now have, as of this Friday, we'll have 16 markers all over Northeast Louisiana.
And honoring the area's great musical heritage and landmarks on the music trail. Molly, one of those big landmarks is something near and dear to y'all. It's Enoch's Pub, and there's been some great musicians. I sat in there one night and just looked at the walls. And really, when we started the boot on KEDM, I looked at the walls and I said, "Oh yeah, that was a really cool show I saw. That was a really cool show." And those guys are pretty cool. Tell me a little bit about the musical heritage of Enoch's.
Well, as Dad likes to say, the walls tell the story. So you're spot on there, Cory. Started in 1980. And I was young, but I was there, and definitely shaped my musical tastes.
5 years old.
5 years old in a bar, right?
Yeah.
Cafe.
Well,
a bistro.
Yeah, my dad was in the liquor business, so yeah, I was like 8 years old going in places too. The pub though was sort of the. I guess really like the center of the musical universe here for live music. You had big-time musicians traveling through. You caught them on weeknights a lot of times as big talent was passing through. They call those gas money gigs, and you had them at the pub.
Yeah, we were on a route from New York City all the way out to L.A., and they would come through here and hit New Orleans and Austin, head out to New Mexico, and then on to L.A. And those weeknight gas money gigs became permanent gigs for a lot of folks. Jerry Jeff Walker, for example, but punk bands out of New York City and Philadelphia, Dead Milkmen. But Cajun bands, bluegrass, blues. We were lucky enough in early days to have a lot of the well-known Delta blues players out of Mississippi come through, James Son Thomas and people like that.
It was always interesting because you never knew what you were going to get. Like you said, one night it was like a Cajun fiddler, and the next night it's Dash Rip Rock or it's Mojo Nixon or something like that.
Absolutely.
Molly, what's your you're about my age, so what was your favorite growing up? Tell me about some of your favorite artists that came through Monroe, Louisiana.
Well, one of my favorite things about the pub there in the early days especially was we kind of laugh. I think my folks maybe didn't have the money back then to put all the bands up in hotel rooms, like we try to do today. So they stayed at our house a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember distinctly, watching morning cartoons and eating cereal with the Dead Milkmen. They were one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember sitting on the stage and listening to Gatemouth Brown, warm up for his show.
Who she became friends with later.
Were you hanging out with the Go-Go's back then?
That was when so this is funny that you bring it up. That was when we were catering concerts that came through at NLU, then ULM, to Fant Ewing Coliseum, which is where my office is now. I work there in the Coliseum.
As the ticket manager.
I'm the ticket lady. But it's fun to be there and have all those memories of the Go-Go's and Cheap Trick and
Grace Slick.
Yeah, all kinds of people, Stevie Ray Vaughan. So they used to hire my dad and them to cater those, and I got to tag along.
So the marker going up on the music trail, what number
Yeah.
does this one make?
Well, this is number 16, and it feels funny to have a marker for us because this was not about us, although Enoch is the founder of the Music Trail. I wanted to wait a while before we even thought about it, but Doug Seegers, our buddy, stepped up and said, you're no longer waiting. We're going to do this. And he raised the money for the marker. We stepped back. We're really honored. We wanted to make sure there were a couple other venues that were recognized well before us, and there's a whole lot more. That's the plans for the future.
So big concert planned for Friday, March the 22nd. You're going to unveil the marker, and then you've got some music.
Yeah, we're going to unveil the marker at the pub, of course, and Doug Duffy, National Blues Hall of Fame member and future marker recipient, Doug is going to play for us. It'll be like 4:30 to 7 o'clock. Around happy hour, as it turns out. And then that evening, Danny Lee Witherington and his band, Four on the Floor, Ken and everybody are going to play that night.
All right, let me in on a sneak peek. Somebody read me the text of the marker. Tell me what it says.
Oh, I don't have it in front
You
of me.
don't have it in front of you?
I don't.
Hang on, let me
No
open my
spoilers,
email.
Cory.
Yeah.
I would like to point out that Enoch's has always been and still is a family-friendly establishment. I think there were maybe just a couple of years there where we weren't allowed to have kids.
That's right.
But we are still family-friendly, we like to think. We're proud of that. So this is at a time of day that people can still bring their kiddos.
Absolutely.
And have something to eat, and a Shirley Temple or a Roy
Let's
Rogers.
see. This thing says, what do you got here? It says, we're running out of time, too. An Irish pub with a Louisiana attitude, family-owned, operated, founded on St. Patrick's Day, 1980, by Doyle and Yvette Jeter, known internationally for live music, camaraderie, and among patrons, Enoch's legacy lives on. A toast to all who've passed through its doors.
Our walls tell the story is the last line on there, I believe. Hey, a big shout out to Marcia Ball. Happy 75th birthday, our old buddy.
Hey, that's some great piano playing, too, and a whole lot of fun. Played there many times. What's coming up? We've got about 30 seconds. What's coming up next on the trail?
Well, on
Richard
April
Berry.
April 14th, Richard Berry, who wrote the song Louie Louie, the original one, and 10 years before the one we all know, the good version. And like I mentioned, Doug Duffy in May is going to have a marker unveiled.
Thank
We're real
you so
proud of
much,
that.
Cory, for having us.
Thank you all for being here. Find out more at KEDM.org.